Going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Got a special client interview with my dude Brock. He's a catching coach currently in Oregon playing pro baseball. I'm going to save the introduction for him, but he has spent some time in my program, gotten some pretty good results, and today we're going to kind of go over his experience in my program and everything like that. So Brock, if you want to introduce yourself and we can kick it off from there.
What's up? So I'm Brock Johnson. Like you said, I'm currently playing ball right now, and I knew that at some point I needed to kind of get into something that's going to sustain me financially while I'm, busy with ball and all that. And I dove into the whole remote training adventure. And yeah, right now I'm 23 years old. Just started coaching officially, like in-person stuff, doing all that within the last 12 months, and right away started to get into remote. So yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's super cool. I actually didn't know you were only 23. That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, sick. That's sick. Well, cool. If you want to start off maybe with kind of about your current situation or your situation, like, kind of before we started and what made you want to do remote, and then we can go from there.
Yeah. So the whole remote journey is awesome because it aligns with my playing career as well. So I graduated, finished college ball in last May. And then spent that summer just kind of kicking the can of like, okay, I for sure want to continue to play professionally and climb the ladder. I'm also engaged, and me and my fiance were like looking at like, okay, obviously, how can I support our future family and what we want to do before our wedding and things like that, and like, have to be able to make money, but also how can I play and climb kind of like that indie ball ladder or just getting picked up or anything like that. And nothing made sense as far as going into like a 9 to 5 and be able to train and like bet on myself type thing. So yeah, it was pretty much just like looking in the whole how can I, start coaching, and then what's going to be the most bang for my buck, and then like looked into the whole remote journey, and then got in contact with Nick, and then it kind of turned into like I didn't have much at the time financially, and I was, we talked, and it was, definitely spend money to make money and join the program and bet on myself, bet on Nick, especially because that was like kind of all I had left. But yeah, the whole remote journey just made so much sense to me, especially after I started doing a few in-person lessons and just really looking at like, um, what's actually going to help kids get better. And I was preaching consistency and things like that. But I'm like, I'm seeing this kid only 1 hour a week, and he's not even remembering what we did last week. So I would just say that, yeah, it kind of just aligned with everything I wanted to do in my own career, and just gave it a lot of thought, and just like how can I get comfortable with, making social media and things like that, because I started from ground zero, like zero followers, zero everything, made a brand new page and just kind of hopped in. So I would say that was my journey, and I just fully bet on it.
Yeah, no, it's super cool, dude. And when you came to me, I was like pretty much starting from scratch, like in my business too, like you were one of my first clients.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see the success that you're having now. Um, I'm curious, where where are you at on Instagram right now? I think you were kind of talking about it before, but like where's like kind of like your account at now after starting from scratch?
Yeah, so I believe I started it in September. That's like when I believe that's when I posted my first, reel of not really knowing what I was doing. But now, yeah, it's May right now. I've gotten up to 4,300 followers, which is, steady growth. There's a few times in there where like, I got 1,000 right away and stuff, but I would say the biggest thing is right now there are a lot of really solid leads. So that was like, things we talked about. But yeah, it was just more the quality of my content. I think my videos have gone up. Anyone who I know who's been following me for a while, were just like overnight, it almost looks like you just like, figured it out. And, there's a lot of things that help me with that. And yeah, just growing. And it's crazy to see the number go from dead zero to, like 4,300. Like that's still like such a blessing to just like kind of see. And granted, it's nothing crazy, but I mean, for me, that's just really cool because it shows me that like this is real, and like, you can actually do this. So Yeah, it's cool. And a lot of dudes are reaching out to me all the time, and guys are willing to put the future of their career in my hands. And that's an awesome responsibility. It makes me want to just like grind even harder for these dudes that are kind of lost right now in their career.
Yeah, definitely. No, and I think you're honestly just like a prime example of somebody who just really wants to help players out. Because I know we talked, like you literally said, like, why do we do what we do? I remember you said that on a group call. You're like, why are we doing this? Right? And maybe, what would you have to say to the people out there who think like online training isn't beneficial to athletes?
Yeah, 100%. And I think that was a part of the reason when I started to get a few sales and all that and get on calls with some guys. A common theme with like dudes I realized were kind of my target market was they're in a really tough situation in their career and what they should be doing going forward. And I realized, I am the person who is able to help fill that gap. And that gave me that responsibility, and I realized like how important this actually is to them, and made me want to build such a good program and just be there for them. It really motivated me to do that. um but yeah, I would say the biggest thing that made me realize that I'm actually helping them more is because the consistency thing, right? Like anyone in anything that does something worthwhile, they look back and realize that it requires consistency. Any part of my career playing, right? Like when did I make progress? When I did those small drills that were tailored to me specifically every single day and just went out there 20, 30 minutes. But you lose sight of that when you don't have something pushing you or a coach getting on you or knowing what to do. So I realized I was actually helping these dudes way more than if they came and saw me in my facility for 1 hour a week, and I bought in way more. So, and I still to this day think it's more beneficial. And if you're able to do both hybrid, like sure, that's also a decent model too, I believe. It definitely helps guys like go over things on their own 6 days a week, and they're able to come in for one day. That's still awesome, but man, that 6 days is for sure the most important thing. So yeah, I would say that really gave me the confidence.
Yeah, that's so no, that's a great answer too. Because dude, I get that from people all the time, right? It's like online training isn't, beneficial, which obviously is not true. But I want to um I want to talk a little bit about the beginning of the program and kind of how our relationship, I think, changed, right? So if you want to talk about, how it was when you first came in the program and how you felt, and then maybe how things kind of developed over time.
Yeah. So I would say in the very beginning of the program, I definitely was in a headspace to where I always, this is definitely ego coming out. I always pride myself on being a very mentally tough person, things like that. And then when we go through the program, there is different sections, and there's the mindset, and then there's the other things that are within your business. And there was a lot of advice from you as well, telling me like, hey, if you don't fix your mindset and what you think is possible, none of this is going to be able to do. And I kind of skipped all the mindset stuff and went directly into like logistically what I needed to do, because that's just kind of how my brain works when I have a task of like, what do I actually need to do? And I skipped all the mindset stuff because I was like, oh, I'm completely good. I'm gonna figure this out. I'm the most mentally tough person. Just things like that. Not willing to grow. And every time I had questions for Nick in the beginning, everything boiled down to the mindset. Like almost nothing was like actually like I was all tripping over things that I thought I needed to do, or small tasks that had nothing to do with them that were holding me back in my own mind, and were indicators to Nick that like, hey, you're holding yourself back before you've kind of even started. So I'd say early on we had this relationship of him just kind of getting me right and just calming me down in those parts of like starting a full business of like, hey, like this is what you need to be focusing on, and this is how I'm going to. He did something better for me. He didn't show me what to do, he showed me how I can do it myself, so going forward I have the tools, you know what I mean, to figure it out. And then yeah, as it progressed on calls, I think it got more comfortable as far as like he understood how I worked. Like I just need a nudge because I come again from a baseball background of like coming from hard programs, to where like when a coach gets on me, I respond really well to that. So like every time Nick got on me, it was like, what are you doing? Quit wasting your time. Like really kind of laid into my soul that really like sat well with me, you know what I mean? So yeah, we definitely had a I wouldn't even say love hate, just like love, and because that's the way I like received it the best. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and you told me that like when you first signed up, you're like, dude, I need somebody to like kind of get on my ass a little bit. And I was like, all right, well, I'm pretty good at that. So
Yeah, you are, man. So yeah, it's good, man. All love though, seriously. It was great.
no, I just want to say like, dude, I'm super proud of like the growth you've made, bro, because when you first got in, like 100%, like that was the biggest thing holding you back, right? Like I truly believe that if you have any sort of like baseball IQ or just like sports IQ in general, you can have success through online training. You don't need to have played at the highest level. You don't need to have been the best athlete. You don't need to even be the best coach. You just need to actually care about the results of your athletes. And like getting you to see that as well, I think to me was, in my opinion, my biggest success for you because dude, you care so much about your players and stuff that like that's why I know you said you close at like 60-70%. Like that's why, dude. It's because they could tell how much you care. And so for me, I just want to say like I'm super proud of the progress you've made in that respect of like kind of opening your mind to like what's possible and also like focusing on what really matters, you know, like not getting in your own way. So I guess like switching gears, like what would you say to somebody who's maybe been watching my content for a while or is like a little bit on the fence and isn't really sure like, you know, isn't sure if online training is even like good for them or if my program is even worth it or anything like that?
Yeah, I would say to preface that with a quote is that the fortune and everything you want is on the other side of your comfort zone. So that is probably the biggest epitome of where I was before I pulled the trigger on getting in here. And I even knew of Nick and Nick before I had met him in person, and I was still, this adds to what I'm saying, that I was still skeptical. I knew he was a real human being. I knew everything, you know, that I've met him a few times of what he was trying to do, and I still fought tooth and nail of like, should I pull the trigger? And me personally, I have a like I said, a very cynical consumerism to me, to where I like looking at things, but when it comes down to actually like paying for it, I'm very like, no, I'm not willing to invest that. I'm not willing to do that. So yeah, I changed my mindset to being like, okay, something's got to give. Like you got to give something in order to gain something else. And I realized my big pictures and goals, where I talked about where I am in life and where I was even just a year ago, of like, okay, I'm gonna get married, all this, and you know, want to start a family soon and play pro baseball. Like there's not a lot in that equation that shows like getting like a really good 9 to 5 and making good money, especially, you know, in training and all that. So again, back to the point of like, I'm at a part of where I'm trying to bet on myself, do something new and start something big. And then I realize that that's probably going to require a good investment. You know what I mean? Like, not like there's nothing that's going to be free, or someone who's going to help you just out of nothing. And the aggressiveness you had too of just being straight up honest and telling me what I needed to hear was like probably the biggest thing. And it was so funny on calls where I was just almost to the point of like, dude, just tell me what I need to hear so I can just like give you my money, because I'm tired of fighting myself. You know what I mean? Like, just tell me that this is like, you're able to help me close a sale or just anything like that. Yeah, so those are all internal things. But my biggest advice again is just, you know, taking the leap over your comfort zone, like getting out of your comfort zone, how big that is. And like the other things on the other side of doing that. And like, man, I'm not a big techie guy. I'm not a big computer guy. I'm not even a big content guy, but I joined this program and now I'm going to parks, shooting videos of myself, making content, building an online program. Like I genuinely would not say I'd be doing this a year ago. It's crazy. It's so crazy to think, man. It's such a blessing. But yeah, it's probably my biggest advice. Like it's only you holding you back. Like and same in my own program, I preach to everyone else. Like when I get on a sales call, like hey, you want to go to this huge D1, you want to go pro, like, don't you think that you need to like make an investment that's actually going to help get you there? That's not just you playing on club ball. And I fully believe that, right? Like, I look at my own career. The best coach I ever had wasn't just helping me for free. You know what I mean? Like, who actually knew the most. It was a guy who should probably be investing his time or for his time. So, yeah, that's probably overall answer to that.
Yeah, dude, no, that's awesome. That's awesome because, like, dude, I always ask people like, how are you going to ask somebody to invest in you as a coach if you're not willing to invest in yourself, right? It's just a little bit hypocritical.
So,
Um, but a specific question, dude. How, I guess, like, how did that first sale feel? Because like once you make one sale, bro, you realize that it's possible, and then you're like, oh my God, all I have to do is just that, right?
yeah. So, I feel like my first sale was delayed a little more than I thought it would be, joining the program. This was just internal expectation because I was starting from ground zero. So I was kind of like, oh, well, I get in the program and within the first week. But I realized there's things I needed to build up to actually build skills before that happened. And I was really glad that it was a little more delayed, you know what I mean? Because then I learned skills of like getting comfortable going through, like mock sales calls and like getting comfortable like that, kind of the other things we did in the program as far as like just good advice on the calls, messaging guys how to get them on. So like it was better because I actually now had like ammunition to be confident on that. But man, I tell you what, I remember, yeah, the first official one I got on, like I said, I was kind of pulsing. I was just like, let's do it. Like it was a really cool feeling of like, let's go, but also very vulnerable because I'm like, there's absolutely nothing that I'm trying to hide here. Like I know they need what I have, and I have worked my tail off to do this. So I'm genuinely going to get on there and tell them the truth. I'm not even going to try and convince them. Like I'm going to lay it all out for them, the facts. And if they can't see that, they're probably not a good fit for the program. And yeah, when I just kind of had that mindset and went under the call and like closed it, it was awesome because it for me personally, and I know there's some other people I've talked to like this, where if I do one thing once, I feel like I now have the confidence to do it again, right? Like each level I've gone up in baseball, as soon as you get a hit at that level, you're like, I can play here. You know what I mean? It's very similar to that. And I just felt comfortable. And then I kind of got on a streak and rolled. And it's been awesome. But yeah, it all started with that one. And the big thing though that I realized, even if I didn't close that first sale, it didn't matter because I gained a new skill of how to get on there, how to prepare, how to be confident, how did I talk, and I learned something new on each cell, that helps me for the next, just tweaking things. So I would probably say, yeah, pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, that's dope, dude. That's
Yeah,
dope. I'll never forget when you made your first sale, bro. You went nuts.
yeah, yeah. I'm downplaying it, but yeah, I was pretty hyped up just because I proved to myself that I could do it. Like everyone else was closing sales, and I'm like, no, I can do it. Like this is me who did it. Yeah.
Oh, that's sick. That's sick, dude. Like I said, bro, once you do it once, you're just like, okay, like I can do this. This is real. Like everyone else is doing it, and so can I.
Yeah, man, 100%. Um, yeah.
Well, cool. Well, dude, is there anything that you want to say before we wrap up here or anything like that?
Yeah, I definitely, man. I definitely want to thank you for your time and everything. I know I wasn't probably a prime candidate either at that time. You know what I mean? I had almost no experience in any of this. I was starting from like negative, like not even like zero. Like I genuinely everything I talked about doing was like just talk. I had nothing started yet. I was spending like 4 hours a day coming up with what my name should be, or like, like all that. So I just want to say thank you because it was able to, guide me and put me on the path, show me the path, like in a leadership role. But like I said, the most important thing was to give me the tools so I could do that, like going forward, you know, in the future. And I think that's what I tell guys in my program. Like, I'm not going to be your catching coach for the rest of your life, but I want to give you things that are going to help you that you can reference back to far into the future. And man, I think you even saw it too. I think towards the end when I got on group calls, I think I kind of showed you like, hey, he's learned a lot. You know what I mean? Like I went from like unconfident, kind of speaking out, asking silly questions, to now like, hey, this worked for me. And I took a step back and was like, dude, like you're killing it. You know what I mean? Just personally, like just self-reflection. And I just want to thank you, man, because it gave me the confidence. And you learned. I was very glad you catered to my learning style. Like you remembered that and you realized, you know, even on any calls, like how I responded. And that was huge. It wasn't just like leave them alone, do whatever. So no, I want to thank you, man. I'm blessed you decided to take this career path and choose to help people doing remote training, because I don't think that it's going to be big. I think it's already big right now. And it's just about, you know, who's started in the beginning and who's going to continue to keep going. So thanks for giving me the nudge, man. Like genuinely. I think for anyone who's looking at this, watching this video right now, like I am living proof that, again, I was super negative about everything and I joined the program and it paid off for me. Like you see YouTube interviews of people to where, you know, they're like, oh, I'm so glad I did this program and all this. And you're like, oh, is that person just like, you know, are they lying? Are they being told to say that? Like, no, I'm genuinely telling you right now, I'm one of those people that's negative or in the past. And I'm telling you, like, for me personally, this was the best investment I have made into my business, into any job so far, right? You know what I mean? Because it's given me the freedom to live out my dream. And now I'm able to play right now and coach guys. And this has been huge and just awesome, man. So thank you again.
Yeah. No, that dude, I just want to say thank you, bro. Seriously, like for your kind words and for like obviously like you invested in my program, but I always say this, dude, like you're investing in yourself. You know, like you talked about building skills, like nobody will ever be able to take those skills away from you. You'll have them for life. And like who knows where you take it. You know what I'm saying? That's entirely up to you. But now you get to play ball and coach people for a living. Like, shit, dude, it's not a bad gig.
Yeah, man. Exactly. That's what I look at. Super blessed, man. Like genuinely.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, dude, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you jumping on here. And it's super cool to see, you know, not only your growth in the business, but just like as a man and like the maturity strides that you've made. So if you're still watching this video and you're a coach and you want to learn how you can grow a remote training business from scratch, just like Brock did, book in a call with me down below. Jump on the phone, it'll either be me or somebody on my team. We'll get you on board, we'll get you going. But I appreciate y'all watching this. Catch you in the next one. Peace.